So, to recap it like very fast, like the topic of the previous talk was that self-esteem is basically the main pillar for inner game. If you don't have a high sense of self-worth, if you don't have a high self-esteem, a healthy self-esteem, this means that your inner game is basically fucked. For me, it's like the number one ingredient. And where does self-esteem originate from? It originates from many years ago when you were a fucking child. I'm just taking that very fast right now. And what was the thing that built your self-esteem? Was your raising, your childhood, how you were raised by your parents. And specifically the validation that you got from them. So a lot of guys in the community have this problem. They had a childhood where they had parents who were not satisfied with the results. They were never satisfied with anything that those guys did, and they never got any kind of rewards for their successes and any results. You know, your grades in school, for example, there was never any kind of rewards from your parents. There was never any kind of validation. Now when you're an adult, validation is something stupid. You shouldn't chase it, you shouldn't be after it. But when you're a child, it's the main one ingredient in developing a high sense of self-worth, a high self-esteem. And later, people who have a low self-esteem, they try to compensate in their adult lives. How? By, you know, getting a good job, a high salary, an expensive car, and in our case, like the typical pickup artist, with getting women. Alright? This is like the main difference between an advanced pickup guy and a natural. That the natural has a very, very high high sense of self-worth. Very high and healthy self-esteem. Alright? Now, how does this relate to state? Have you noticed how the naturals always behave in the club or in their everyday life or in their interactions with the girls? They kind of like always seem like they're always in state, right? They're always having too much fun. They never seem to think about shit. They really, really trust their actions. They really, really trust themselves in everything they do. And they're really present and focused on what's happening right now and enjoying the present moment. The natural is almost always in state. Alright? This is his everyday life, this is his reality. You're trying to get there, you're trying to get little flashes of what the natural has. Alright? And then another way to describe his behavior, natural's behavior when he's in state, is that first he acts and then he thinks. And have you noticed this thing? When you are in state, when you're in the club, and you're like having this amazing feeling, everything is cool, having a lot of fun, enjoying the interactions, not thinking about pulling, going from girl to girl to girl to girl, having a good time. And then you do some crazy shit, you know, maybe like you do an instant makeout, something like that. And then literally the next second after you do it, like, oh, you just like realize what happened, like, oh damn, what I did was just like fucking good from a game perspective. Does this happen to you?
Yeah.
When you say that shit happens, you do some good shit, like you kind of like act and you think afterwards. And then it hits you the next second, literally the next millisecond, like, oh shit, the shit I just did was amazing. That's what happens when you're in state. When you're in state, you're like the closest that you can be to a natural. And how does this work? To be able to get into state easier, we should first understand how state works on a mind level. Well, I want you to think of your brain as an iceberg. Have you seen the iceberg, like how it's like the tip is like the little part, the tip is outside of the water on the top, and then the rest of the iceberg, like I don't know, 90%, whatever, is like below the water. Is that the part that you don't see? Have you ever seen like any picture in like some school book and on the internet? That's how the iceberg is. You gotta think your mind as an iceberg. So the little top that is outside the water, the part of your mind that you're using, that you have direct access to, is your conscious mind, your logical mind. Is what allowed humans to do science, math, to kind of like focus their mental resources, their brain power, and do like sciences, economy, all that kind of stuff that created civilization. Now the rest of the brain, the part of the iceberg that is below the water, the 90%, is your subconscious mind. Is what you have no direct control over, but is what actually drives your lives. Everything you've ever experienced, every single memory, image, sound, feeling, everything you've learned, you've heard, any video, any book, all that stuff exists in your subconscious. When people say I have a bad memory, that's bullshit. You don't have a bad memory. All that stuff is in your brain. You have a bad ability to recall memories. All right? Every piece of information you've ever encountered is in your subconscious. And what else is in your subconscious is your beliefs about yourself. Your self-esteem. Your subconscious takes all those, this series of memories, experiences, whatever, and from those it shapes specific labels. And with those labels you create your identity. So a good example of that is that my parents, for example, they used to tell me all the time that, okay, you're lazy, you're lazy, you're lazy, you don't study, you don't do that shit. Alright? And this memory, it kept like repeating a lot in my head. And then my subconscious took this memory, this repeated memory, and it shaped a label. Okay, you're lazy. And then this became kind of like part of my identity. So even now, even today, when I'm supposed to work and do some shit like productive shit, I don't do it, and then I just justify, oh, that's just who I am. This is me, I'm lazy. Alright? And this is exactly how your subconscious shapes your identity. Takes the memories. Who was it that made the question earlier? Like my experiences. Who said it? Like my experiences were different. Was you, right? Alright. His experiences, his past memories, were processed by his subconscious, and then he created this label, this belief, this identity trait for himself. That okay, what was it? I'm not good enough. I have approach anxiety. Something like that. All right. Let's say like main example. I'm not good enough. All right. Your problem. I'm not good enough. I feel like a piece of shit. Because your past memories, your experiences made you believe that. All right. Now, the good thing with the subconscious and what we're gonna exploit. All right, and like you really gotta listen to that shit because people actually pay a lot for that shit, and now you're getting it for free. All right. The good thing that we're gonna exploit is that the subconscious, apart from this fact, okay, memories and beliefs, it also has, it's extremely fast. And it's extremely efficient in the way it processes information. The problem with pickup today, and what the industry is mainly trying to do, is we are trying to pick up women intellectually, logically, by using our conscious brain. But the bad thing, as we said, it's the tip of the iceberg. It's very slow and it's very inefficient. Your conscious brain can do maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 processes at a time. And by doing all those like different processes, you're splitting your mental resources into those kind of like threads. Are you familiar with computer science? Like threads. So let's say you're in interaction with a girl and you have to consciously, logically remind yourself, oh, eye contact. All right? And this is one thread in your mind, in your logical conscious mind. And then you have another thread which is, okay, now I need to remember of what to talk about, the topics of conversation. I need to say some jokes, some shit like that. Then you have another thread in your mind, which is body language. Oh, I have to remind myself to adjust my body posture. I have to lean back, all that shit. And then suddenly you have all those like 3, 4, 5, maybe even more different things that you have to do at the same time. And the problem with your conscious brain is it's inefficient, it's not powerful. So by splitting those mental resources, you cannot do any of this properly. Like one moment you will be focused on one of them and you will do the rest of them a bit shitty. Then you're gonna switch your focus. You're gonna, okay, now I need to do this better. And then you kind of like forget about the others. Like, who was it? Like forgetting about leading. I don't remember who said that. That, oh, I need to remind myself that I have to lead all the time and all that kind of stuff. It's because you're trying to do it with your logical conscious mind. That's a problem with the pickup industry, that we're trying to pick up girls using our inefficient brain. Now the natural, what does the natural do? What the naturals do is they don't use their conscious logical brain. They're usually a bit dumb. Even if they wanted to, they wouldn't be able to. If I go to a natural and give him like outer game, probably I'm gonna confuse the fuck out of him, and then when he's gonna go out, he's gonna perform worse. So what they do instead, they use their subconscious. Your subconscious can do millions of processes at the same time. You just don't have direct control over them. Alright? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you indirect control over your subconscious whatever processing power. All right. Let me think of a good example of that. Like a pianist. All right. When you try to learn piano, you're like, okay, you have one finger and two fingers, like tin, 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 whatever, because logically constantly trying to play piano. The pianist, he has done that for a long time. He's got absolute belief and he trusts himself, he trusts his ability and his skill that he can play piano, and he can coordinate 10 fucking fingers at the same time playing different shit, and he doesn't even have to think about it. It all runs effortlessly. Alright? It all runs effortlessly. And he can play like an amazing fucking melody. And this is because the pianist, he utilizes his subconscious brain. Alright? That's how it works. Or a football player. Football players are usually a bit stupid. If you like talk to one of those guys, you will think that they're stupid. Traditionally, like from society standards, they're not like intelligent. But what they're doing when they're in the field, they use their subconscious brain. Can you imagine a football player, okay, I have to kick the ball with this amount of force and from this specific angle, and I calculate the speed of the wind, and I'm going to try to predict the way the goalkeeper is going to move? No, that's bullshit. That's not how they play football. They just like very in the moment. They're very relaxed. They completely, absolutely trust their abilities and their skill that they're good with the ball, and then they just fucking do it. And their subconscious takes all those processes, all those calculations, all those variables, environmental variables and whatever, combines them in milliseconds and produces the result, which is a perfect kick which results in a goal. Alright? And this is exactly what the natural does when he does pick up, when he goes and talks to a girl. When a natural picks up a girl, he doesn't think, oh, lead, isolate, social hook point, pull, all that kind of bullshit. All he has in his mind is to talk to the girl. And his only fucking goal, consciously and logically, is to talk to the girl. And then what he does is he completely, absolutely trusts his ability. He trusts that the girl will like him. And all his goal is just talk with her. Enjoy the interaction. And then he subconsciously takes everything. He subconsciously takes the girl's body language, his body language, adjusts everything in milliseconds, and then you have a very, very smooth and good interaction. Alright? So this is what you're trying to do here. Now, you're going to ask me, how am I going to do that? How am I going to utilize my subconscious and do pickup efficiently instead of doing the traditional, stupid, slow, inefficient way that we've been like trying to learn for years? It again comes down to self-esteem. We were talking about state, I kind of like went a bit off topic, but state is exactly this thing. So how does state work? Alright, I said that using your subconscious comes from self-esteem, comes from a very, very deep trust in yourself, knowledge that you can produce the result. Alright, so how does state connect to all that? Alright, you go in the club, and what do? You approach first set, second set, you're out of state, you're in a shitty mood. Okay, first set, second set, you push your own buttons, you do like your own little self-amusement routines and jokes. And what happens, the moment you do that shit, because you've done it 100 times before, you know it's going to give you a good result. You know that you're going to get a good reaction. You get the good reaction from the first 1, 2, 3 interactions from the girl, and this good reaction that you will get instantly will give you validation. Alright? This validation that you will get from this interaction momentarily and temporarily will push your self-esteem up. Remember when we talked about childhood? Validation in childhood from your parents is what ended up giving you a high and healthy self-esteem. Alright? The same happens in the club, but in a small scale. So you get the validation from the good reaction, and your self-esteem momentarily and for a while it goes up. So if your self-esteem is like a straight line, in general, alright? It's like in your everyday life it's like this. When you go to the club, here is like your first 1 to 3 interactions, you get your validation, then your self-esteem goes a bit up. You have like a little bump. Alright? When you reach this point up here, you become unconscious, you realize, oh shit, I'm in state. And you tell yourself, oh damn, why am I in such a good state? I don't, I'm usually a piece of shit. Why am I in this state? I don't deserve to be in this state. So therefore, since I don't deserve to be in this state, I need to do more. I need to get a crazier interaction, I need to get another makeout, get the girl to like me more, I need to get even more validation. Because otherwise my state will go away. But paradoxically and ironically, is exactly this thought that is going to drive your state down. And then back to normal. Your self-esteem is back to normal. So you have like this little bump in self-esteem. This bump is state. The first half of the bump is state. And then when you become conscious and you tell yourself, oh shit, I need to do more to keep it up, is when you're gonna lose it. Alright? So, let's recap it a bit. So, exactly, when you're in state, your self-esteem is up, you're utilizing your subconscious, you can do all those processes really fast without even thinking about it. It's effortless effort. Alright? So, how do you bring this up permanently so you can always be in state? All right, that's the first step. What you mainly have to focus on, again, work on self-esteem. Work on your beliefs about yourself. Work on trusting your skills and your abilities to the maximum degree. When you can go to the club and you don't need to think about bullshit that happened in the past, when you go to the club and you don't try to predict specific outcomes, oh, what if the friend comes? What if the boyfriend comes? What if it's not the perfect timing? All that shit needs to disappear from your mind. All you have to have in your head when you're in the club is, I'm here, I'm focused on what's happening right now. How can I just make the most out of this specific moment and enjoy the specific interaction as much as possible? All right, that's all your mentality. And okay, you have a goal. The goal is to pull. You don't think about, oh, I have to pull. You have to think, how can I take the interaction right fucking now a little step further, a little tiny step closer to the pull. If you try to think too far ahead in the future, what is going to happen? Your conscious brain is going to come in the forward, in the, what is it called? In the front. You're going to start trying to predict outcomes. Oh, this scenario about pulling. Your mental resources are going to be split. Your state is gone. So we focus on the now and we make the most out of this specific moment. Take the interaction a little tiny bit step further. And that's all good. And trust your brain that when it's time to pull, your brain can do it. That's all you need to do. And now, okay, that was the first part on how to fix our self-esteem and bring our state up permanently, so we can always be like a natural, be always in state. Now, apparently you're not there yet. So you're gonna ask me, okay, I'm not there yet. I'm gonna try to work my way there. But for this moment, what can I do to maximize my state? So when I go to the club and I get in state, I can keep there. I can keep being in state as long as possible. Again, you have to think of just what's happening right now. If you tell yourself, I need to do more, it's gone. I need to do crazier shit, and get more validation, your state is gone. So when you realize that I'm in state, okay, and you have like this conscious realization, okay, now I'm in state, it's just like, oh, you know, you tell yourself it's all cool, and I'm gonna keep being like that. You just tell yourself, I'm gonna keep being in state. And trust these words in your mind. Don't try to do crazy shit. Just tell yourself, I'm gonna be like this, and I know that everything is gonna be good, and I don't need to do crazier shit. All I need to do is relax and enjoy it. And resume what you were doing. Resume, dancing. Resume your self-amusement. Resume talking with your friends. And that's how your state is gonna keep being, maximize and last for as long as possible. All right? Let me check the time. Oh yeah, that went a bit faster than expected. Questions?
Isn't it like important to think about what you're like gonna do so that way you can
go towards the goal? You mean? So that you can go towards the pool.
Well, so that way that you make the things like you think about it, and then you're like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do eye contact, I have to do body language, or whatever, and then that after you do that enough, isn't it like that how you get it into your subconscious mind? You know what I mean? By like thinking about it consciously, like when you said like when you're playing the piano, first you like you're doing.
All right. Yeah. It's a good point. It's a good question. Yes, it's true. That's the way. It's like a habit. It's like a skill that you learn how to play guitar. So if you have a problem with the eye contact, you have to practice it until you teach yourself to do it automatically. So after you've done in the 100 interactions, the 100 first, you're gonna go and your eye contact is gonna be perfect, and you're not gonna need to think about it anymore. All right, that's the first part. But yes, you need the practice. I'm not telling you, okay, just like read a book about your self-esteem and stop going out. That's stupid. But to maximize the results of the practice, to get that shit to stick as soon as possible, you need to work on that, on the self-esteem, on your beliefs that you have about yourself. Remove the old negative labels and start planting new ones, good ones, positive ones, the ones that you want yourself to have. And then later when you go and practice, the practice is going to become easier. It's going to become more enjoyable, more effortless, and then eventually it's going to stick easier. But you say that thing, like when you're in state, do you have to think about eye contact really? Do you have to think about topics of conversation? It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, they need to be in a combination, practice with self-esteem, but the self-esteem comes first. The inner game comes first. It's a solid foundation. If you get that shit figured out first, everything you will do afterwards will come much faster. Everything you will try to practice afterwards will come much, much, much faster and easier. Do it smart, don't do it hard.
So how would you plant those positive?
That's the paid stuff. There is three very, very specific methods, but I'm not gonna tell them here. And even if I want to, we don't have time. I'm gonna tell about that shit later when we're almost done, alright? But do you have any actual question apart from that thing? How do you do that shit? You said how do you do that shit? You can Google it. Okay, you can Google how can I reprogram my subconscious? How can I reprogram my beliefs about myself? You can Google something. Alright, I can give you a good book recommendation. Alright, which is a lot of the stuff that I teach to the students in the boot camps and the programs I do. A lot of that stuff comes from this book. It's called The Genie Within. The genie within. It's talking about this genie that is inside you. It's talking about your subconscious mind, which is the genie, which you can give kind of wishes to. Not only about women, about business, about money, friendships, whatever. And then by teaching yourself how to reprogram it, you can get that result.
Did you say the genie or
the genie within?
The genie,
Yeah, that you rub the lamp and then the genie comes out. And the meaning of the book is that the genie is your subconscious mind, and it's within you. Kind of like that.
By who? The genie.
I don't remember the writer, but it's very easy to find on Amazon. On the Amazon, it's like bestseller or some shit. Questions?
Is your mind really empty when you enter the club?
Not always. Not always. That's also a skill that you have to practice. Being relaxed and trusting yourself is something that you need to practice, and there is specific methods to do that. The book describes a lot of them. The book describes a lot of ways to reprogram your subconscious and take those old labels that you created about yourself, erase them and plant new ones. Instead of lazy, with those methods I can reprogram my subconscious, my software in my brain, and replace this label with productive. And then it's gonna start playing on itself. And then I'm not gonna have to force myself to do my work. I'm not gonna have to tell myself, okay, sit down and do that shit, otherwise you're a piece of shit. My brain is gonna tell me that thing is enjoyable. You want to do your work. Productivity then becomes something pleasant. Working becomes something pleasant. Producing results becomes something pleasant. And it's the same with girls. Instead of, I suck with women, it's like a lot of people believe, therefore, okay, you need to learn pickup. You can tell yourself, you can reprogram your brain to think, everybody loves me. Women love me, I'm good, I'm social, I'm good with people. And then your subconscious is going to take this label and it's going to start acting on it without even realizing it, and it's going to start producing this result. You're going to find yourself surrounded by more and more successful people. You're going to find that girls come and open you. You're going to find yourself being one of the cool kids. I had a call with a student today and he tells me the thing, I always wanted to hang out with the cool kids. What can I do so the cool kids will like me? Like, bro, a cool kid does not ask that kind of shit.